Inside the town of Franklin, there's a mud pit they're very proud of as well, because that's where some of the top mud racers in the world are going at it. Hook, line, and sinker. We'll also tell you about the one that got away. This is Trucks and Tractor Power, featuring the all-stars of NMRO Mud Racing. Welcome to Trucks and Tractor Power on the Nashville Network. Today we come to you from Franklin, Georgia for NMRO Mud Racing. Hi everybody, I'm Gary Lee alongside Army Armstrong, and we're only minutes from the Alabama state line at West Point Lake. And this area is recognized for spectacular bass fishing. But today, some of the best mud racers in the world are fishing for the big prize money in this all-star national event.
You know, Gary, it's kind of interesting. All the fishermen around the world, they have their special lures. They've got their own secrets. Well, this sport's no different because some of the secrets coming in this facility, they're going to be coming from Texas with George Gregory. Harbaugh comes out of Oklahoma. That's a young lady we got to keep an eye on. And, of course, Meeks out of Indiana. Keel comes from Michigan. And the old mud shark himself is going to be here, Mike Ederle. So let's see what they can do and who does have really the best secret in this sport.
All right, we'll go fishing in the mud after these messages. A sunny, hot, and humid day in western Georgia, Franklin, Georgia, at the Deer Creek Motorsports Park as the officials continue, Army, to work on this timing device. They'll time it to a thousandth of a second.
Well, you know, that timing device is awfully important as Gary Baker and his crew are putting it all together. This is the big event of the year. The first time a lot of these fellas have come together to chase these NMRO Mud Racing points, and everybody's serious that rolled into this pit area today, Gary.
And here is a local favorite from nearby McDonough, Georgia. This is Glenn Siebold.
Now, Glenn relies on a 454 cubic inch alcohol-burning and supercharged Chevrolet engine. The body you're looking at looks like a stretched Jeep. What it is, it's a fiberglass replica of a Jeep. So all the Jeep fans are going to be pulling for this vehicle, as well as the Chevrolet people. He draws the #1 spot, all eyes on the Miller Jeep.
And the Miller American skims across the mud with those cut DOT 44 tires. A good run, 3.298.
So he's showing that the track can be awfully quick. I'm watching the front wheels, Gary.
Well, he knows this track very well. This is his home track. He's the 1990 points champion here at Deer Creek.
You know, there's actually, it's like, you know, you just hit on something that's really important there, the fact that the mud is different everywhere you go. Speaking of different, this young man last year was the national champion in the two-wheel drive category. Joe Gassner steps up to go with the four-wheel competition this week.
Well, this is the Mud Buster, a 377 cubic inch injected with nitrous oxide.
Trying to go quicker than 3.3.
And a good run. In fact, he's the quickest so far at 3.226.
So the track is looking awfully quick. By a quick track, it's got to be smooth to be quick in this sport. You notice he's not getting caught in anybody's ruts. The front end's staying real light on him. The front wheels just barely touch the ground, but those big old back tires are just clawing and scratching, aren't they, Gary?
Reminds me of a hydroplane walking across the water as the fans try to stay cool the best way they can here in western Georgia. Here's a good look at Shake Me, Tom Means.
Gary, every sport has a driver like this. He's an attack driver. He will literally pull the trigger on you. He will just make you hold your breath. Whoa, he's in trouble now, Gary.
Well, he went right across the timing device. He was baling hay out there. He thought that thing was going to go on over. He was going for the cellar. You see him duck down in the cockpit. Obviously disqualified because he's out of bounds.
Boy, that's the way it was. First 50 feet, it looks good, and all of a sudden it hooks on him. Now he's trying to pull it back. Now he's at the mercy of Mother Nature. He's into that wall, and he's got to follow it.
Well, you talk about the front end being light on these vehicles. He really does not have the proper control because the front end is so light.
Yeah, once it was up in the air, it's like steering the front wheels when you're doing a wheelie. It's just to no avail. And he was so light, and those big old back wheels kept pushing him.
Well, as we realign the timing device, let's talk to Tom.
First of all, Tom, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What caused the accident?
I think the back tire grabbed a rut about halfway through and started pitching the car to the side.
What goes through your mind at a time like that? Do you have time to think about it, or are you just too busy reacting?
You just work on reactions alone.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
And then when it's all over and the dust clears, you realize your heart beats about 1,000 miles an hour. Well, coming up next is the NMRO 1990 Car of the Year Destroyer 3. Army, I know you're very high on this driver and car combination, and before our competition, you got a chance to talk to Rick Keel.
Gary, as you know, any sport has a dominating vehicle. The Destroyer is the dominating vehicle in professional mud racing. Every world and national record that could possibly be held in the sport is held by the Destroyer. Rick Keel's the man that owns it. Rick, tell me, why do you make the horsepower you do, and you do not rely on the nitrous button like these other guys?
Well, we want something that makes a lot of power in the higher RPMs and that you can throttle and control the power more. And we found with the blower motors we can do that, and then we can also throttle the accelerator so that when we get ready to leave the line, just like pulling up a big rubber band, and when they let it go, it just keeps going and accelerating all the way through.
And there's a familiar name for all you drag racing fans. Boy, that guy can produce the horsepower. This is a 468 cubic inch big block Chevy and a 23 altered Ford, the Destroyer 3.
And the long wheelbase makes it a little bit more stable than some of the vehicles we've seen earlier. Time to beat's a 3.22. It'll be quick, Gary, don't blink.
Well, he got in trouble immediately. It won't be that fast because he got out of that center of the lane.
A 4.08, Gary, but what I'm worried about is the rest of the field. Now, somebody's got to figure out how to get on top of these. Meek's got himself in trouble. The Destroyer comes out, bangs into the wall, gets himself in trouble. Where do you spot the vehicle if you're the next man in line?
Army, you talked to him earlier. Let's talk to him after the run.
Well, Rick, when one gets out of shape like that, it looks like you're basically just hanging on and trying to get it out the end.
Yeah, there's not too much to salvage then.
What caused it to work its way over to the right like that?
There's some ruts out there. I really wanted to start way on the right, but the car was a little sideways, and then it would have a tendency to pull right away to the right, like Tom Mentz had almost. And
just real quick, is it a good track or a bad track?
I think it'll be a nice track. It gets a few more passes, and I think some of those ruts get out of here, and they'll blow some of them out, and it'll get a little bit more consistency to it. Right now, you got a few ruts here and there and all over, and there's a lot of high spots that I think are more than what you'll see a little bit later.
So I think what he's saying is, Army, the guys that drew for a later run may be better off with track conditions. As we take a look at Gaylord White in his 32 Ford Vicky, this is the cardiac arrest, and this is how he prepares for competition. Climbs in the race car and takes a nap.
Well, you know, why not?
Don't get too excited.
No, different things work for different people. He's getting ready to take a ride down some of the wildest 200 feet of clay in America, and he's asleep 2 minutes before he goes to the line.
The cardiac arrest. It's a 302 cubic inch with one carburetor, and not a very good hole shot on that one.
Oh, he's giving away a whole lot of horsepower, Gary. I think he knew that he wasn't going to be a player, but he wanted to come down and, you know, get the sticker on the window to show that he was there.
That car came out of there like the car was asleep.
Well, you know, he's having fun.
Look at the vantage point here. Kick your feet up on a log.
The 23 body style comes out. Here comes another one of these bad boys. Tell us all about him. This guy even sounds ornery, and he's lining up way to the right side of the track.
Mike Fair out of Mishawaka, Indiana, the time traveler. He has those 44-inch cut groundhogs. For tires, the 540 cubic inch blowing Chevy.
Remember a moment ago, the driver Destroyer said he would have lined up a little bit to the right. This guy does and goes out the other end.
Yeah, good run, too, for Mike Fair. 3.317.
Now, Mike's a hired driver. This is not his vehicle. He's a hired gun. Let's see what he does is different than anybody else. He gets on top. But those ruts are still catching them, Gary. Look at that. They're still having to drive out the other end of the track.
And as the competitors talk about track conditions, let's go back down trackside and talk to Mike Fair.
Well, Mike, you go out and go at 331, but the track looked like it's porpoising on you.
Yeah, Army, the track's getting pretty rough. It's going to be hard to get a good pass down, and that's about the best you can hope for. The track's running, your car gets up in the air, you lose a lot of time.
Thanks a lot.
You bet, thanks.
Not the kind of run that Mike Fair had hoped for. He's the 1989 NMRO Cut Tire Points champion. More competition coming up as George Gregory talks over things. He drives the new breed.